Hi everyone, this is a long video of me recording myself crocheting a custom commission. A friend ordered a character called Mooncake from me, and here I'm not 100% sure if I can do it, but I start to get a little bit more confident because when you take a custom commission, you essentially tell your client in advance what you'd like to be paid for it. And in this case, I said essentially I was giving myself 4 hours of allotted time. And here in the first hour, as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit happy because I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I can finish this in time. I end up getting the majority of the body finished in the first hour of me starting this. And here I am trying to figure out the antennae. I've got some bendable wire, and I start using the outside of the skein just to try to figure it out. I went with a ball stitch and a long piece of yarn. I ended up hot gluing the yarn to the bendable wire, and then creating a bigger spiral on the inside of the toy, which I then sewed in place. But yeah, I started to get a little bit more confident because I was like, okay, I'm going good. Everything's going good. It's going a lot faster than I thought it would. Things are okay. But then once I finish these antennae, I start to get a little bit discouraged, and I'm like, oh no, it's not really working out the way that I imagined it would. These are they're not looking exactly how they should be. I started doubting myself, but I kept going because I was like, no, you know what? I got this. I still got this. I've got time. I'll figure it out. So I just kind of once I do the trial run for these, I kind of put them to the side. I put one in the head and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just test it out, see how things go. And I go on to finish pretty much as much of the body as I can do over in one night. I only worked on it for about an hour. And then I took a break and went and played Stardew Valley with my husband. And you'll see in a minute, I came back to it the next day just to, yeah, here I'm like, oh, I like it. It's kind of giving, but it's a bit long. I also kind of tested out exactly where I wanted it. I eyeballed down the character. I put it in. And then that's exactly when I started thinking oh no, this isn't going as well as I thought it would. I thought it'd be a little bit cuter. It's almost always one of those trust the processes. Anyways, the next day turns out a lot better. Here I am, a little discouraged. I'm like, it's okay. I got a lot done. I'm figuring it out. Look how much there is. I just pretty much have to close it tomorrow and then do the details. And the details are always what kill it, the time that you give yourself. So here I am. I have them glued together. I figured them out. I'm sewing them down and they're starting to take shape and look really good. I love building three-dimensional objects. And in a minute you're gonna see I do this little proud showing of the ins. I'm like, you can't even see the wire. I'm telling anybody who walks in the dining room, look at them. You can't even see the wire. And the reason why I do that is just in case anything shifts or I was just afraid it would come loose, but I just used needle and thread, sewed everything down, and yeah, that's how that was going. But I ended up stuffing it completely. Then after this, I stuffed it completely. Then I sewed the end closed. And then I started on my felt eyes, which are probably sewing the mouth on and sewing the eyes together and then on the face is probably what takes me the longest. Any details like this, where I have to stop and sew and thread my needle and just play with finicky details. If it was all crocheted, it'd be so much faster. But yeah, I hate polyfill. It gets up your nose if you read it. excuse my double chin at my face. We'll just be over here. I'm just like sizing it up, checking it out, getting a little happy about the way they look again. Now here I am closing it off. So essentially I just made a big ball. I started it that way. I kind of extended it into like a bean shape. And then I gradually decreased it in the exact same amounts as I increased it. So I tried to center the two antennae just by looking at the character or like seeing the visuals or like on the scaling. And just after this, I sew it up with thread. And then I go in with my felt. I cut 2 perfect circles of felt that were roughly the size that I thought that they should be, which was maybe 2.5 inches or 3 inches across. And then what I like to do for character designs is anywhere there's a black line on the character, I will use worsted weight yarn. So what I've been doing is I will use a black thread and a needle, like sewing thread, and I will sew the worsted weight yarn in place. So for the mouth of this character and for around the eyes of this character, and even the pupils actually are made of worsted weight yarn sewn together or around and then in place, depending on what I needed to do to get it to look like that. But you'll see that it's like very defined. It gives a lot of personality like that. And then I don't feel like I'm losing any of the details. I hate closing things up with this yarn. I meant to cut this out. I ended up with like a little bald patch in my chenille yarn, so I had to like loosen it up in order to get it to close. There we go. Yeah, that's the struggle. And then I cut it off because I am not sewing it shut with that crap. I love the way it feels. It's so luxurious. But working with it, it's an SLB. That's the truth. Anyways, I'm just playing with the shape, making sure everything is copacetic. And here I am sewing it shut. And then you'll see me going into more of the details on sewing the feet on, and the eyes are later. Here they are. I'm sewing the worsted weight yarn onto the felt edges, just so that when I stitch those onto the head, it will be like a really defined eyeball and it'll look just like the character. And then I also have to make sure everything's like neat and tidy and clean. And here I am sewing the thread together to make that little pupil and sewing the pupil on. And that's the second eye. And now he looks like he looks. It's so cute. The mooncake.